Hey everybody, this is Mrs. Maury. Hi, how are you? I want to, you did such a great job on your lesson last week. I'm going to teach you a new skill, which is about reviewing the past progressive, and which is all about things that happened in the past. And this lesson is going to be about babysitting and what happened the last time that Moby and Ben were babysitting. So I'm going to review that. And we're also going to give some advice in this lesson. And so for past progressive, I just want to remind you that this is, and so you're going to log into level 2, unit 4, lesson 5, past progressive review. And we use the past progressive for ongoing action in the past. And so you can see something like, for example, we were dancing at 9 o'clock, or when it's interrupted, we were dancing when it happened. Or if it's something that, for actions taking place, we were dancing while we were watching TV. And so just as to remind you, in order to do past progressive, we would say I was, and then you're going to say sleeping instead of I am sleeping, which would be present. Or an example would be like, I was sleeping when he came home. Or you could also use the negative. I wasn't sleeping when he came home. You could say he was writing. She was writing. She was writing a letter at 5. You could say it was writing. You could also say it wasn't writing. And you could say we were running. So we were running when we saw you. We were running, right? They weren't running. They weren't playing. You can also ask it as a question. You could say, was I riding? So wasn't I riding the bike? It was the negative. Wasn't I riding the bike when you saw me? Wasn't she listening when they were playing? Were they eating? Weren't you cleaning your house when your mother came? And you can ask why. Like you could ask, why weren't you cleaning? And remember that ing. And then the other thing I want to remind you about, besides the verbs, is verbs to give advice. So when you're trying to help people, you can say may, like may I go outside, or you may go outside. You can say might, I might be home later. I may be home later. You could say supposed to, the train is supposed to arrive. You could say should for advice, like you should do that. Or you could also say you ought to do that. You could also say really strong language, like you had better do your homework. You had better study for that test. You had better remember your umbrella. You had better not be late. That's the negative form. And that's what this lesson is about. So now I'm going to have you go back to lesson 5, and I'm going to have you watch the 3 movies, which are all fun movies about, again, babysitting and Ben and Moby. I'm going to have you look at the, I'm going to have you look at the mind map. I'm going to have you do the read it and the write it. Why don't we start the read it right now? And then I'm going to have you take the quiz. So in the read it, you're going to do the review one, and you're going to read about the babysitting adventure, which is so fun. Last week, while I was babysitting, I had an adventure. It all began when the baby wouldn't stop crying. To cheer her up, I took her for a walk. At first, the sun was shining and the baby was smiling. But then out of nowhere, we heard thunder, and suddenly it started to rain. The weather changed so fast. And so make sure you read this and answer these questions. And then you should also take the quiz. When you're done, you should send the quiz results to me. Remember, email them to Mrs. Maury Clarkson at falmouth.k12.ma.us. Great job, everybody. See you next week.